Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rin Ramblings. I'm Erin. I'm sitting here in my wrestling corner, and we're going to talk about this week's wrestling highlights. If so inclined, please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And we are going to go ahead and get started this week with SmackDown. The show opened with Nia Jax celebrating her championship win. Tiffany planned this extravagant championship celebration for Queen Nia and invited Pretty Deadly, which I thought was great. Pretty Deadly has grown on me so much. They're good in the ring, but I wasn't sure about what they were up to for a long time. They are a delight. This Pretty Deadly, the musical thing that they have going on backstage, and now the performance that they did for Nia's celebration was really just super fun. It adds a nice little levity to a serious type championship celebration with heels, and it was great. The unicorn balloons really got me too, and the fact that Nia kind of hated the whole theme of her own celebration because Tiffany picked the decorations and didn't take into consideration at all what Nia likes. I loved that Michonne came in and attacked everyone here, and that's leading to her getting a title shot. She has earned her title shot here. She's wonderful. I love Michonne. I'm excited to see what she does with Nia moving forward. Something else I want to talk about on SmackDown was DIY versus the Street Profits. This match was so good. I love seeing the tag division get to shine a bit on SmackDown. I think it had kind of fallen off all across the board, both on Raw and SmackDown, and the women's division had kind of fallen off. It's nice to see it getting some love over the last couple of weeks. The Profits get the win here. They are super talented. I love seeing them on my TV. They're going to face the Bloodline, and we're going to see how that goes. I can only assume that the Bloodline is going to be kind of a force to be reckoned with here and keeping those titles for a little bit longer. But I'd be pleasantly surprised if the Profits got the win, and I think they've kind of earned that. So I'm excited to see where the tag team division is going to go, and if we continue to spend a little bit more time on it on all the shows across the board, men's, women's, all of it. Please, more tag team stuff. WWE, please. Kevin Owens. KO getting this title shot against Cody Rhodes is really one of my favorite things going on right now. I have been kind of wanting to see a little bit of that old side of KO, the yelling and the bickering with everybody, which he does kind of as a face too, but kind of just a little bit more on that old KO heel side, prize fighter KO, if you will, from 2015, 2016. I like that Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens in general, but I really like that Kevin Owens, and getting a glimpse of it here with yelling at Grayson Waller and then yelling at Grayson Waller during the match that he won fairly decisively. That, do you want to see the old Kevin Owens? Was a really nice touch. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that old Kevin Owens leading up to this match, and if we see that old Kevin Owens in the match with Cody itself. I also really appreciate that KO seems to care a whole lot about wins and losses. And I don't know that you always have to. I don't know that we always have to make that the focus, but I super appreciate that he cares about what's going on, and he's kind of keeping track of who's winning what and who's losing what and who deserves what. I think we get away from that sometimes in story, and I think there's a way to meld it and make it all make sense. And I appreciate that Kevin Owens is on the same page with me. The last thing I want to talk about on SmackDown is the Bloodline, which is a little bit of the focus of SmackDown right now. Solo Sikoa does a backstage segment where he says that he will acknowledge Roman if he can take the Ula Fala back from him, which I think just reiterates the importance of the Ula Fala in that culture and in this feud. It's not just an accessory or a token. It is very, very important to them as a family. Solo later in the show goes out to the ring to call out Roman. Roman comes out. The pop from the crowd for Roman. So hot. The crowds are really hot for Roman right now, which is great. I love to see it. Roman does briefly get his hands on the Ulafala, but then is just destroyed by Jacob, and the bloodline gets quite the beatdown from them. They powerbomb him through the announce table. Side note, the whole reason I'm wearing this shirt is that when they went to do the powerbomb through the announce table, all I could hear in the back of my head was the old Shield promo. I think it was a backstage promo where Roman was just yelling about triple double power bombs. That's all I could hear. Two other things I want to touch about. One quickly, was Roman Reigns wearing a t-shirt under a cutoff hoodie? What in the Bill Belichick was that? As a Patriots fan and a New England native, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Why? Just why? Second, I saw a lot of discourse online about why no one would come out to help Roman. Why would anyone come out to help Roman? He's basically spent years manipulating and abusing the entire locker room, including his own family. Yes, he's back. Yes, the crowd is super into it. But as far as this story is concerned, Roman has done some bad things for a lot of years. Roman really did become kind of this monster, if you will, even to some of his own family. And while he doesn't necessarily deserve what's coming to him from Temu bloodline, actions do have consequences, as we have learned over on Monday Night Raw in particular. Before we get into Raw highlights, we're going to do a little segment I like to call Things You Love to See. This is going to be where I take a few things from the last week of wrestling that I think never get old. That could be rivalries, vintage moves, as Michael Cole says, callbacks, jokes, just kind of anything I want to give a little shout out to that happened over the last week that isn't necessarily one of the highlights of either show or any of the shows. So without further ado, this week on Things You Love to See, number 1, Andrade versus Carmelo. The chemistry that they have in the ring is unmatchable maybe on television right now. Give me a best out of 7 between the two of these. I'm super hyped for it. For real, for real. That Spanish Fly. That Spanish Fly. Thing of beauty. Number 2, Chelsea Green. She steals every segment she's in, whether it's backstage, in the ring, she's doing a run-in. She is so good. She's so good in the ring. I wish she got to show a little bit more of herself there, but every segment she is in, she steals the show. Tacky time. Dead. Number 3, Uncle Howdy delivering that Sister Abigail to Chad Gable. Chad was selling that thing like the rent was due. It looks super badass every time. I am super excited for Uncle Howdy to have his in-ring debut next week. And I can't wait. Number 4. 3, 4, 4. Randy Orton's Scoop Power Slam. It is definitely vintage Randy Orton. It is a thing of beauty. It has always been a thing of beauty. It will forever be a thing of beauty. Never gets old. It is a thing that I'd love to see. All right, on to Monday Night Raw highlights, last night highlights. Pete Dunne and Sheamus was a banger. That finish made it extra special. Pete Dunne putting Sheamus's hand that he had hit with the shillelagh and, potentially damage in through the ring turnbuckle and stomping on it, essentially, and Sheamus ripping it off in anger and then hitting the brogue kick. Really just unique. It made it feel different, and I liked it. I'd like to see them run this back at some point in the future. And Sheamus is he has been on point since his return, and I kind of want to see him chase that Intercontinental Championship Maybe not yet, but soon. And speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker cut a promo announcing a title tournament for the Intercontinental Championship. Promo was solid. I'm pretty sure he gets better and better every week. His in-ring work has always been great. He's definitely gotten more and more comfortable, even on the backstage promos in particular. He's those are coming together nicely, and he seems more comfortable. Later in the show, Jey Uso declared himself for the Intercontinental title tournament, which I am here for. Jey saying he needs that singles win, and he needs that singles title win, which I don't disagree with. We'll see what Jey Uso's path is next, but he thinks he needs that singles titles win. Do you feel him, sir? One of the definite show stealers of Raw is Dom and Liv versus the Terror Twins, Damian and Rhea, with just the Judgment Day stuff thrown in there, kind of adding that extra layer. I think they are the hottest thing going right now, aside from Punk and Drew, which we will talk about shortly. Liv really showed out this week by coming out and not doing that chicken shit heel stuff and going after Rhea Ripley and kind of owning it. She was out there, she made the attack. Yeah, she has the Judgment Day and Dom helping her, but she went out there and confronted her, and I liked that. That was different, and I liked that the Judgment Day was kind of holding Damian back from her, who desperately wanted to rescue her, which just strengthens their bond, especially going in to Bash at Berlin with the Terror Twins versus Dom and Liv. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think they can go a lot of different directions and get a lot of story out of this, and it's kind of moved away. Yes, the romance part is still there, but that's not the focus anymore, and it's basically just, revenge and sabotage and those types of things. So I'm excited to kind of see where this goes, but I'm really excited to see how Rhea and Damian work together as a tag team at Berlin, and how that kind of all plays out into the next pieces of this story, and hoping that kind of Finn and Damian get their moment as well down the line, because I'm liking that. To close out the Raw highlights, we're going to talk about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. This is probably the hottest storyline on the show right now. CM Punk comes out to deliver a promo with a leather strap around his neck. He had implied last week something about straps in his next match with Drew McIntyre, and does announce that he has gotten permission to have a strap match with Drew McIntyre, a strap match where they have to touch all four corners, dragging your opponent to all four corners in order to win the match. I may be the odd man out here, but I like the four corners rules for this. I think it's kind of middle of their feud. We're definitely getting another one after this, I would believe. And this kind of leaves it, nobody's pinning the other. And we'll, yes, it's going to be a little bit more brutal than SummerSlam. And yes, somebody's going to win. But I think nobody's getting a direct pin or submission. And it saves us a little bit of anticipation for what's going to happen next, which I think could be the most brutal and kind of epic part of this feud, this last piece of it. The Taylor Swift comments, how he had all the bracelets and was thanking the fans for coming out to New York for the festival this weekend, and said that he was the Taylor Swift for men. I'm not sure that more accurate words have ever been spoken. I have nothing against Taylor Swift, so please do not come after me. But I do feel like both of their followings are a little, or can be a little much. Obsessive, maybe. Yeah. It tracks, guys. It tracks. Drew then coming out and asking Punk if he started drinking because he wants to have a strap match with him was a nice little, a little punch in at CM Punk, and that, Drew McIntyre is just a bigger dude. Like, he has the advantage in a strap match, and dragging people around was kind of his point. and adds to it a little bit. The end of this fell a little bit flat for me. It kind of felt like it just ended, and I was like, oh, it's over now, this segment, I guess, so sure. But it's still the hottest thing on the show. I love Drew and Punk together. They play off of each other really nice. The promo chemistry there is amazing. Their last match was great. I'm super excited to see CM Punk wrestle some more. But my last thought here is this still surreal for anybody else? Like, we talked a little bit about today on social media, 3 years ago, this was Punk's big return to AEW, his big return to wrestling in general after a 7-year absence. And after a 10-year absence, he's back in WWE. And while he was back in wrestling, him standing in a WWE ring, having a feud with Drew McIntyre, is still a little bit surreal for me. Every once in a while, it still just catches me off guard a little bit. Like, oh, this is happening, and he's here, and things are going super well. And yeah, I'm super into it. I was super cautious about his return and how it would go and when it would happen. I'm not a big into like dealing with the rumors and whatever. I don't know what happened over there. I know some of what happened over there, but I don't know everything that happened in AEW. I don't know everything that's happened in Punk's life. But you get a little cautious, or I did when he came back. Just, let's see how this goes kind of thing. And right now I think it's surreal because here we are. We're almost a year in. It was November. It's gonna be November in a couple of months. Yeah, this is so cool, guys. It's really cool. Yeah. Super cool. All right, enough about that and how cool it is. I just really love wrestling, guys. I know. I'm a big geek. Big geek. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Another week of wrestling highlights in the books and behind us. I will be back next week with more highlights, more things you love to see. If you have things you want to see from me, let me know. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, watch my older videos. There aren't that many of them, but give them a watch. You can also follow me on Instagram and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at RinHeelLove. I'm always over there, usually during the shows, kind of chatting a little bit with people and giving some tweets and some posts. Instagram's a little bit more sporadic. I try to get on there a little bit better, but definitely you can find me on X talking wrestling probably 7 days a week. It is what I do. Thank you again. I'm Erin. And until next week, stay weird.